Will the market go up or down? Should you lock in or float? Find out this and more with Master of the Markets, hosted by Barry Habib of MBS Highway. Brought to you by Paramount Residential Mortgage Group.
Welcome to another edition of Master of the Markets. I'm Barry Habib, and MBS Highway is created exclusively for NMP TV, and it's brought to you by our friends at PRMG. They're working for your best interest. It was Jobs Week last week, and man, the number was strong, expecting about 650 to 675,000 jobs. Boy, oh boy, a big number, 916,000. And on top of that, 150,000 positive revisions to the past 2 months. This is just a good sign, thanks to the vaccine, people coming back to the workforce. So this is something that is certainly a positive. Although mortgage bonds didn't care for it much, they sold off on the day and are beneath a ceiling of resistance. 10-year Treasury to us looks like it wants to head back towards 175 and test that level. So be on guard for that right now. Break above 175, that would be troublesome because we'd be headed towards about 1.97, let's call it 2% on the 10-year Treasury. These are things that you should be looking for. At 175 is a very big number for technical figures as far as will mortgage-backed securities and 10-year Treasuries get a lot worse, or will they kind of back off that number? So that's a big threshold. Now, as far as this jobs report, the unemployment rate, it dropped to 6%. But when you dig deeper, which we always do at MBS Highway, you'll see there were about 3.7 million people that weren't counted because they couldn't go back to work due to the pandemic. And because of that, the number was artificially lower than it should be. There's also a misclassification there, about 0.4%. The real unemployment rate to us is about 8.7. And then the U6, which catches everything, is really a little bit higher than the reported 10.7. It should be about 11% real numbers. So these are improving, but not as good as the media would have you believe based upon the headlines you see. Now, we always talk about weekly earnings and hourly earnings and the difference between the two, and the media always focuses on hourly earnings, and that was up 0.4%. And a lot of times you'll hear people mistakenly say homes are not affordable because you have appreciation, or even worse yet, they'll look at the median home price and they'll compare it to hourly earnings, and they'll say, well, prices of homes are going up much higher than earnings are. If you take a look at weekly earnings, which is much more meaningful, that's what we always talk about at MBS Highway, because you can work more hours or less hours, but it's amazing to us that the media does not focus on weekly earnings. That's really what the key is, because that's more indicative of how much you're truly making bringing home. Weekly earnings was up almost 7%, so almost double of what the hourly earnings figure would be. A big difference there, and something to consider. Now, one last thing, the jobs report, it is broken up two different ways. There's the headline, which tells you how many jobs are created, and that's the business survey. Now, there's the household survey where people actually get phone calls. There's about 60,000 households that are surveyed, and this is where you get the unemployment rate. Now, sometimes the unemployment rate drops, but it's for the wrong reason. People leaving the workforce means the amount of people in the workforce, when that labor force shrinks, the unemployment rate could shrink, but for the wrong reasons. In this case, this last month, we saw the amount of people in the labor force actually increased by 300,000. And according to the household survey, there was about 600,000 jobs gained. That's why the unemployment rate improved. So it was for the right reasons. This is just giving us signs that there's underlying strength. Now, we think that this will continue at least into the summer, and we think we're in for some rocky times here as far as interest rates go. We're probably seeing interest rates rise into the summer as both the economy, jobs, and inflation heat up, but then the fall should see them back down. Listen, if you're not on MBS Highway every day, you're really missing the boat. It's getting a little tougher out there, isn't it? Refinances are shrinking. Purchases are out there, but there's so much competition and a lack of inventory. We have the tools to help you win and beat your competition. What are you waiting for? Get on it. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Be sure to click on the link below for your free 30-day MBS Highway trial.